Glorying in tribulations. Who could give me what that word tribulations is? What? Trouble, that's right. And we gotta we gotta be give glory to the Most High when we in our tribulations. I tell y'all, just thinking about this lesson, it just came to me as we was doing a prayer that I should acknowledge a couple of people. One person that I knew very well, and two people I never got to meet. The person that I knew very well was my father. And before I came into the truth, you know, my father was a Baptist preacher. And before I came into the truth, I wanted to talk to my father about what I was learning, but I never got a chance. I never got a chance to go through the Bible with him. Usually when we talk about the Bible, it was me, you know, downgrading it. Being, you know, listening to the Muslims, listening to the Masons. They had a disrespectful outlook on the Bible. So that's what I was bringing to my father. So I wanted to show my father so he could be proud that I believe the Bible now, wholly and truly. And I wanted to show him the things that he was erring in the Bible, but I never got a chance to do that. That was a big tribulations for me when I went to my father's funeral, knowing what I knew at that time. And I couldn't bring it to him. Now the two people that I never met, years ago, me and my wife, we had 2 ectopic pregnancies. If people don't know what that is, that's when you lose a baby. We lost 2 of them. And now my wife can never have another child. And this week, you know, some things went down this week where I was angry with my wife. And, you know, I didn't even speak to her for a whole day. Usually, to be honest with you, when I get mad, I can be mad for days. But this time it only lasts for 1 day. For 1 day. And I was back talking to her, but I was still angry. That's when I got a text from Deacon about this lesson. And I was like, wow, the Most High, he plays no games. You know, you have no time to be worrying about nothing. You just gotta do what you gotta do. And that's got me thinking about the babies that we lost. And it's like, no matter what my wife, you know what I'm saying, no matter how angry she makes me, it can never accumulate to her losing 2 babies. So, you know, I have to be glorying the Most High in the tribulations that we went through this week. And I have to remember what she lost. I have to remember that. It's key. The Most High will remind you of your past along with your present and your future. You have to put it all together, just like we do with the Old Testament and the New Testament. It's nothing without one another. Your life is nothing without your past. It's nothing without your present or what's going to happen to you in the future. It's all going to mash together. I just learned that just now doing a prayer and listening to Tawad song. It just brought to my attention. But now we're going to get into the commentary. Once again, the title is Glorying in Tribulations. Read.
The commentary reads, in this life there are good times and there are bad times. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes when things are going good for us, we are happy, joyful, and giving the Most High all the praise and glory as we should. Why is it that when things are bad and not going well for us, we tend to not give the Most High all the glory and praise, but instead we find ourselves cursing, blaming, and getting angry with our Heavenly Father? Anyone can give the Most High the glory when things are going great, but which one of us is in our worst moments can give him that same glory? This lesson will deal with the fact that in our tribulations is when we need to be most thankful and appreciative towards the Most High for all of the great blessings he has bestowed upon us.
Exactly. Because when it's good, it's good. You know, I mean, when you get you a new car, you smelling it, you know, you looking at all the buttons in it, you happy. You like, man, yeah, you ride, you laid back. But as soon as something go wrong with it, you go crazy. You like, man, I should have never bought this car. Like, no, it's a used car. You know, so you just gotta get things fixed that need to be fixed on it. That's how we gotta be in our tribulations and all of them. We can't just sit back and be happy all the time when the Most High is doing good for us, not knowing that there's something bad is going to come down the line. We got to keep that same glory going for the Most High. Let's get the first set of scriptures. We're going into Romans 5:1, and we're going to read through verse 5, 5:1 through 5. Let's get it. Because that's something we go through all the time. We quit to forget about the Most High when things going bad. Out of everything with me being a officer in the church and a Hayabashim Yeshaya, as soon as the problem hit, I forgot to fall on my knees and just pray. I forgot all about it until Deacon sent me this lesson. I thought it was right on time. I was like, man, that's right on time. All right, read the scripture.
We're going to Romans 5:1. Therefore, being justified by faith, we have peace with the Most High through our Lord Yeshua HaMashiach, by whom also we have access by faith into this grace wherein we stand and rejoice in hope of the glory of the Most High. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation worketh patience.
Right.
And patience, experience, and experience, hope. And hope maketh not ashamed, because the love of the Most High is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Spirit, which is given unto us.
Right. It says, because we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulations worketh patience. See, when you're going through something, you're supposed to relax. You're supposed to praise the Most High. You're supposed to think of ways to fix the problem without sinning. Each time, because guess what? It's going to be the same things over and over again. You know, Lucifer can't come up with new things. He do the same things over and over and over and over and over and over again. Even within your own life, you had the same problems over and over. You just don't pay attention to it. But it'd be the same thing: money woes, relationship woes, yourself, how you feeling this day. It's the same thing. But you're supposed to be working patience. And they say patience, experience, and experience hope. Because hope is what? Faith. That's why when you go back up to this word being justified is actually means free or righteous. Therefore, being free by faith or righteous by faith, we have peace with the Most High. By doing what? By keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. It keep us within a line that we can't cross. Let's read the next commentary.
The commentary reads, So there is so much to be thankful for and several reasons to give the Father the glory because of our tribulations. If we never experience any tribulations whatsoever, then how will we be prepared for the future trials that lie ahead? Look how these tribulations allow us to better develop our patience, experience, hope, and the attributes of the fruit of the Spirit. Going through trouble also allows us to remain humble.
See that? If we never experience any tribulations whatsoever, then how will we be prepared for the future trials that lie ahead? Because there's nothing that's not going to happen to you in the future that hasn't already happened to you in the past. Now, there's going to be some troubles with Jacob's trouble. You know, that's why we're preparing ourselves for that right now. But your personal troubles, it ain't going to be nothing different than what you already went through. So you should be already well aware of how to handle it. Like all of us are here right now, if we lose our jobs, we should be able to handle that. We should be able to handle it right away. We should know by being in the Bible gives us what? Wisdom. And once we get that wisdom through the Bible, And not to disrespect nothing, but we should be able to go into any interview and manipulate it and turn it the way we want it. The way we want it. I learned in job interviews, the person giving the interview, they more interested in how you feel about the job than how they feel about you. After the interview is over, you should always ask them questions about the job. They like that. You get the job immediately. Okay, let's get the next set of scriptures. We're going to 2 Corinthians 7 and 4.
We're going to 2 Corinthians 7 and 4. When you have it, say come.
And real quick, it says, going through trouble also allows us to remain humble. Humble. That's all the Most High wants us to be, is humble and teach His word humbly. The way we doing the street preaching these days is wonderful. Everybody is on a certain level. I haven't seen nobody go off that level and start cursing people out and telling people to shut up and, calling homosexuals the devils, and we ain't went there yet. So they be out there, they be walking past us now. But we ain't disrespecting nobody, ain't nobody threw eggs at us yet, Con. All right, get the scriptures.
2 Corinthians 7 and 4. Great is my boldness of speech toward you.
Great is my boldness of speech toward you. Read.
Great is my glorifying of you.
Mm-hmm.
I am filled with comfort. I am exceedingly joyful in all our tribulation.
I am exceedingly joyful in all our tribulation. What did Paul mean by that when he said that? I am exceedingly joyful in all our tribulations. Because he know if you're going through tribulations, you're going through what Christ went through. If you ain't going through nothing, you should worry. You should worry. If everything is peaches and cream, you should worry. Because Paul said, I'm exceeding joyful in all our tribulations. Read.
For when we were come into Macedonia, our flesh had no rest, but we were troubled on every side. Without were fightings, within were fears.
See that? Because you know when they came into Macedonia, it was, man, they got it. They got beat, they got thrown into jail. All type of stuff was happening to them up in there. And what did he say? Without, we were fighting. Within were fears. They were scared too. You never lose that fear, but you got to turn that fear into your greatest what? Strength. Sometimes fear can be your greatest strength. Remember that. Read.
Nevertheless, the Most High, that comforteth those that are cast down, comforted us by the coming of Titus.
Right, he comforted them by the coming of Titus, his brother. That was the Most High. Don't worry. Yeah, fear, be afraid, but not of them. Be afraid of me. See, no matter what fears that they had, they knew that they can't do nothing to me that the Most High can't do 10 times more. That's what they was afraid of the Most High. Read.
Verse 7. And not by his coming only, but by the consolation wherewith he was comforted in you, when he told us your earnest desire, your mourning, your fervent mind toward me, so that I rejoice the more.
That's right, because in his tribulation and fear, the Most High sent his brother, a loyal companion. Titus was so deep into it, he ended up running his own church in Crete or something. Titus, he ended up in Crete. Okay, we're gonna go to Ephesians 3 and 9. See, they was going through some serious tribulations in Macedonia, but they kept glorifying the Most High. They kept working. They didn't stop. They didn't stop no matter what they did to them. And it was something to go through. We ain't went through none of that. We ain't went through nothing. We ain't seen nothing yet. What Paul was going through, and Macedonia especially, they didn't play no games with them. Okay, read. You got Ephesians 3 and 9.
Ephesians chapter 3, verse 9. And to make all men see what is the fellowship of the mystery, which from the beginning of the world have been hid in the Most High, who created all things through Christ Yeshua, by Christ Yeshua. Verse 10. To the intent that now unto the principalities and powers in heavenly places might be known by the church the manifold wisdom of the Most High, according to the eternal purpose which he purposed in Christ Yeshua our Lord, in whom we have boldness and access with confidence by the faith of him. Wherefore I desire that ye faint not at my tribulations for you, which is your glory.
Right. Faint not, weary. Weary. Don't be weary at my tribulations for you. For you, which is your glory. Your glory is your tribulations. Your glory is the pain that you go through in life. See, we sit back and we think everything is peaches and cream, even within the church. We quick to tell somebody that you following the devil, but we don't see it ourselves when we making big mistakes. That's a big mistake to tell somebody that if you ain't teaching it right. You just can't sit up in here while the deacon teaching and look over somebody. You shouldn't call on Jesus, because that's the devil. That throws people off. That put people that put people mad. When people walk in this church, they already be messed up in the head. So when they come here, we got to be easy. We can't create tribulations. We can't create them ourselves. We have to be the ones to show people that when you're going through something, it's another option. You can either bask in your pain, you can either lay back and cry all night to yourself, you can either think of doing things to people. And guess what? If you take revenge on somebody, the Most High won't. You understand that? Say for instance, somebody do something to you, and you decide to kill this person or to bodily harm this person. Whatever you did to this person is nothing compared to what the Most High could do to this person. So if you do something to him, guess what? He already served his punishment for it. You hurt him. You hurt him. So what you think the Most High gonna do? You gonna be the one blamed for it. So we gotta be careful when we in these tribulations, because it could cause a whole lot of unnecessary pain for us. So we have to be very, very careful. Okay, let's get the next commentary.
The commentary reads, our tribulations are our glory, because it shows the power of the Most High working in our lives to deliver us out of our perilous moments, which can not only be used to strengthen our faith, but to be a testimony to help bring others to the truth.
Right. And
through this time and time again, deliverance, the Most High gives us, it strengthens our faith, builds our confidence, and makes us not ashamed to tell others all about him and his power.
Right. Because if you're going through something and a lot of your family members looking at you like you're strange, you be like, why you think I'm strange? Because I believe in the Most High. Sometimes, people who's not well equipped, they just cower in the back and let their family members talk. And they don't never bring them no structures through the Bible. They just sit back and cower it out and just let them just say what they're going to say. But we have to be strong in it. We can't be scared. You can't be ashamed to tell others about the Most High. We just can't be. Let's get the next set of scriptures. We're going to Thessalonians 1 and 3, 2 Thessalonians. I never knew that pain can bring wisdom. But we all are living examples of it. Pain can actually bring wisdom.
I'm going to 2 Thessalonians 1 and 3. Everybody have it, say con. And it reads, we are bound to thank the Most High always for you, brethren, as it is meet because that your faith groweth exceedingly, and the charity of every one of you all toward each other abundant. Verse 4. So that we ourselves glory in you in the churches of the Most High for your patience and faith in all your persecutions and tribulations that ye endure.
Right. So that we ourselves glory in you in the churches of the Most High for your patience and faith and all your persecutions and tribulations that you endure. Because we're going to endure some things, but glorifying it. Glorifying it. They was glorifying in it. Like, whatever you go through, brother, be happy. Because you're going through what Christ went through. Read.
Which is a manifest token of the righteous judgment of the Most High, that ye may be counted worthy of the kingdom of Ahiah.
Right, which is a manifest token. Manifest is something that's shown. Manifest is something that was created that you could touch. It's a manifest token. Your tribulation was created so that you could know that it's the Most High putting you through this so you could go through what Christ went through. Read.
Finishing up verse 5. For which ye also suffer. Verse 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you.
Right, recompense, deliver. Read.
And to you who are troubled rest with us when the Most High, when the Lord Yeshua shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels.
Right. Seeing it is a righteous thing with God to deliver tribulations to them that trouble you. Remember what I just said? That if you take it upon yourself to deliver a person to their tribulations, the Most High won't. So if somebody is doing something to you in the faith, I'm not talking about something that you created. I'm not talking about a problem that you created. I'm talking about if it got something to do with this church. If it got something to do with your learning, street preaching, being out in front of the brothers teaching, if somebody is trying to harm you or talk bad to you, or when you teaching the word to somebody and somebody else come along and say, oh man, don't listen to that garbage, that ain't real. How could you believe that somebody died and came back? Don't worry about that. The Most High is going to do that. Read that again.
Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. And to you who are troubled rest with us when the Lord Yeshua shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels.
Right. And you who are troubled rest with us. You rest with the forefathers that's went through this with you. And then you're going to be seen with Christ. When Christ revealed with those angels, you're going to be seen. You're going to be seen. All those brothers that brought you trouble, they're going to be like, man, he was right the whole time. Let's get the next commentary.
The commentary reads, there's not too many people who have lived that has gone through the level of persecution that Paul went through in this walk. So who better to give us insight on how we are to look to our persecutions? Oftentimes Paul, not only going through his own trials, will look to others that were in the walk who had similar trials and would be extremely happy that they were able to endure all of the trouble that they went through. And not just being happy for their endurance, but what it means when a person is going through so much hardship following Christ Yeshua, that we are being counted worthy of the kingdom. If that's not something to give glory about, then what is? Speaking of Paul, let's take a look at an example of one of his many encounters with tribulation and how he handled it.
Right. See, Paul was happy. Every time he heard about somebody going through something, he was happy. They probably was comparing things like, yeah, did they hit you upside your head with a rock? Yeah, you didn't hit back upside your head with a rock yet? That's what was going on. They was laughing. They was happy about it. We're going to go to Acts 16 and 19. I remember when I was a kid and one of my cousins had got jumped on. He got hit with a hammer in a movie theater. And when they came to the house, I was a goofy kid. I ain't gonna lie, I was a goofy kid. And my grandmother was living with us, and I asked him, I said, hey, did it hurt? And my grandmother looked at me and said, "What you think? You always say stupid stuff. What do you think?" And I was like, "Yeah." Because I used to get jumped on all the time growing up. You know, they wanted me to join the gang, so a lot of the stuff didn't hurt me. You know, I knew how to cover my head for one. So a lot of the stuff didn't hurt me. So I really wanted to know, did that hurt when they hit you with that hammer? You know, so and that's what these guys was going through. Okay, we're gonna get Acts 16 and 19.
We at Acts chapter 16, verse 19. And when her master saw that the hope of their gains was gone, they called Paul and Silas and drew them into the marketplace unto the rulers.
Right, because you know when Paul and when they came in, you know, this lady, she was bringing a lot of gain to them. She was something like a soothsayer, I would say, but she was bringing a lot of gain to them. They was getting a lot of money to them, and then when they seen that Paul and them preached to her and brought the demon out of her, they got mad because they knew that they were finna make no more money. Read.
And brought them to the magistrates, saying, these men being Jews.
These men being what?
Jews.
Being who?
Being Jews.
Read.
Do exceedingly trouble our city, and teach customs which are not lawful for us to receive, neither to observe, being Romans.
Right, being Romans. They didn't believe in Christ. They didn't believe in Christ. They didn't believe in the laws and statutes or commandments. They didn't believe in these things. Read.
And the multitude rose up together against them, and the magistrates rent off their clothes and commanded to beat them.
Right. They snatched their clothes off and they beat, just like they was doing slaves. Read.
And when they had laid many stripes upon them, they cast them into prison, charging the jailer to keep them safely.
Right. When they got tired, I would say, when they got tired of whipping them, they threw them in jail, just like they do us right now. Read.
Who, having received such a charge, thrust them into the inner prison and made their feet fast in the stocks.
Right. Locked them up aggressively. Read.
And at midnight.
Hold on for what you said.
The inner prison, is that like the hole?
Huh?
Is that like the hole? The inner prison, how they throw you in the hole? Is that
Where it say thrust them into the inner prison?
No, they was in there with other people. They was in there with other people. But they was locked up by their feet. Read.
Verse 25. And at midnight Paul and Silas prayed and sang praises unto the Most High, and the prisoners heard them.
Right. See that's how you know that they weren't in a hole. They was in there with other prisoners. And they was up in there singing and praising the Most High in jail. And locked up, feet locked up. They still singing, whipped, naked. They didn't care. Read.
And suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the foundations of the prison were shaken. And immediately all the doors were open, and everyone's bands were loose.
See that? Everyone's bands was loose. Read.
And the keeper of the prison, awakening out of his sleep, and seeing the prison doors open, he drew out his sword, and would have killed himself, supposing that the prisoners had been fled.
Right. Now, I know exactly what the prisoner was going through. See, I'm on both sides of this. Because I'm Paul now, locked up, but I'm also a security guard that sleep on the job. So I know if I'm asleep and all of a sudden, because when you security, they keep a camera on you, but they don't really watch you until something happens. So I know that if the earth shook and all the doors opened and I woke up and everybody was out their cell, that it was going to be something on me. See, back in these days, you know, these guys, they killed themselves. Me, I just would have, you know, came up with some excuse that, you know, but I see what this guy was going through too. He was scared. He woke up like, oh man. All right, read.
Verse 28. But Paul cried with a loud voice, saying, do thyself no harm, for we are all here.
Now, this is a prisoner of the Most High. Because all the stuff that they've done to them that day, he didn't weary, he didn't get upset. He didn't sit back and let this man kill himself. He stopped him. Anybody else in that prison would have let him stab himself with that sword. If Paul and one in there, dude would have killed himself. But Paul stopped it. Read.
Then he called for a light and sprang in and came trembling and fell down before Paul and Silas.
Right. Read.
And brought them out and said, Sirs, what must I do to be saved?
Woo! Sirs, what must I do to be saved? After all that we done to you today, and then I was the last prison guard to touch you. Now I see that the Most High is with you. What must I do to be saved? Read.
And they said, Believe on the Lord Christ Yeshua, and thou shalt be saved, and thy house.
Mm-hmm.
And they spake unto him the word of the Most High to all that were in his house. And he took them the same hour of the night and washed their stripes and was baptized, he and all his straightway.
Right. Mm-hmm. Him and his whole family was baptized that night. After all that they did to them. See, Paul, they glorified in their tribulations because they knew this is it. We going through the same thing Christ went through. And there's nothing they can do to us that the Most High won't do. Watch. Read.
Verse 34. And when he had brought them into his house, he set meat before them and rejoiced, believing in the Most High with all his house. And when it was day, the magistrate sent the sergeant, saying, Let those men go. And the keeper of the prison told this, saying to Paul, The magistrates have sent to let you go. Now therefore depart and go in peace.
Right. Now, what if Paul would have fought back? Not saying that, when you're in trouble, you don't defend your life. But in situations like this, what if Paul would have just got scared and just would have said, forget it, you know what I'm saying? They would have got killed. They would have been killed. But when you're going through something for the Most High, you got to know, you got to have that faith that the Most High got your back. You can't slither away in a corner and start being sad and crying and cursing the Most High like most people would do. Oh, why am I going through this? I'm hungry. I ain't got nothing to eat. I can't get to work today. You got 2 feet. You got to be at work at 8 o'clock. I did it once before. It was for different reasons. But I had to be at work at 9 o'clock. I used to leave out the house at like 6 o'clock and walk from 5th in Madison all the way to Independence in Madison and back home every day. That's walking from Melrose Park basically back to Chicago. I used to do it every day when I was younger. So you can always get to where you're going. That's what your feet's for. You can always get to where you're going. That's why the brother been putting in the tag today. We have a backpack every day. Keep a backpack with you. You never know when you're gonna have to use your feet to get somewhere. Learn the city. Be ready. Okay, we're gonna get the next set of scriptures. We're going into Christ himself. We're going into Matthew 10 and 17. Because we can't think it's gonna always be good. We can't think that. I know when we come here on the Sabbath and we drinking our teas and our coffees and we break in families over there eating, it's not gonna be like that all the time. We gonna have to be rationing our food and everything. So then we gonna have to really praise the Most High. Because if we could praise the Most High and sing and dance every day when it's good, like it's good now, we can do it when the problems come. We should always be praising the Most High, because when you're in tribulations, that's when He's really there for you. If you're there for Him. Read.
Going to Matthew 10 and 17. But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in the synagogues.
Right.
And ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. For it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of the Father which speaketh in you. Jumping down, we're going over to Matthew 24 and 9. Matthew chapter 24, verse 9. And it reads, Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
Right. Now, what does that remind you of? That's what happened to Christ when they brought Him up, His own people, and they let the murderers go. And Christ didn't rehearse what He was going to say to them. He just said what the Holy Spirit brought out of Him. And that's how we got to be. I know a lot of brothers be scared to street preach because of this scripture. A lot of brothers use this scripture. I hear a lot of camps use this scripture too. Don't worry about what you're going to say. That's in this situation. You don't worry about what you're going to say when you've been brought up. But when you get ready to street preach, you can make you a catalog of what you're going to say. Most of the time, when you reading it, it's going to come off the way the Most High wants you to say it anyway. Like right now, I have some stuff written down I didn't even say. I just brought it the way the Most High. But when you street preaching and going out, when you standing before the class, you could go to your notebook. But when you in a situation like this, where they're finna deliver you up to kill you, don't worry about what to say. Don't worry about what to say to their judges. Because at that time, the Most High and the Holy Spirit is going to do your talking for you. If you be right with these scriptures and let your glory and you glorify in tribulations. Now, if you being cocky, it ain't gonna work for you. You're gonna be saying all type of craziness. If you put yourself first, always put the Most High first. When you put Him first, then guess what? Stuff is gonna roll off your tongue that you never knew. Like when I first did my first street preaching, I was just thrown out there. We was right down the street too on Saturday night. That was by Happy's. And I'll never get, the elder was like, LAMAK, you go over there. And I was Herm then. I wasn't even LAMAK. Herm, y'all go over there. I said, do what? He said, street preach. I didn't know what to do. But lucky I had my Bible and I had some stuff written in the back. And I just went to them scriptures, didn't know how to explain them, but I explained them real good that day. And I kept telling people that wasn't me. Wasn't me at all. That was the Most High. Okay, let's get the next commentary.
The commentary reads, Paul and Silas, who were teaching the gospel and not harming anybody, were beat with many lashes and then thrown in prison. After this affliction, we see them singing praises and praising to the Most High, giving Him all the glory in their tribulation. How many times do we find ourselves in bad situations or hard times with matters far less worse than this, and we are operating in the spirit of bitterness, anger, and sorrow, maybe even cursing the Most High for allowing us to fall into the hands of the enemy for trying to live a righteous life? Notice how through Paul and Silas being in prison, the power of the Father was able to be shown, and they were able to be a witness and to convert a non-believer. You never know you never know how you are being used. Oftentimes we will see When we read examples of similar situations, how the Most High turns our tribulations into glory so that his power can be shown. We must keep this in mind as Christ warned that we shall be hated for the gospel's sake and receive the same or worse types of imprisonment. How are we handling ourselves emotionally in our tribulations? Something we have to constantly self-examine ourselves in.
Right, because we could go through anything and blame everybody else. We could go through anything. Anything can happen. And we won't praise the Most High at all. Just argue. Women good for that. A woman can argue for 4-5 days about the same stuff and never get an understanding. Just arguing. And I'm not talking about with us. I'm talking about with their girlfriends. You be in the house, you hear your wife, she on the phone with her friends, they going at it about somebody else. You sitting around, you looking like, you coming out with a gun, like, baby, what's going on? Who I gotta get? And then they get to telling you what's going on, then you do your best way to Michael Jackson moonwalk up out the room, because you're like, man, I don't want to hear this mess. But that's how it be. That's how it be. And we never get understanding. And we never went through what Paul and Silas went through. Even going to jail. Us brothers, we bring more trouble on ourselves than the police. We can't shut up. I don't know what's that about. I learned it when I put on my first security guard uniform. Because first I was F the police and man, the police this, the police that. But when I put that security guard uniform on, I'm like, brother's crazy. Brothers see a uniform and they don't know how to act. Now you see what they was doing to Paul and Silas. We make them do that to us without bringing out not one scripture. Paul and Silas was bringing out scriptures. We trying to have a bag of weed in the fifth under the seat, talking crazy. Put your hand on the steering wheel. Why I gotta put my hand on the steering wheel, officer? Because I told you to. Put your hand on the steering wheel. No, next thing you know it's a scuffle, they fighting. Somebody gets shot. Or sometimes the police these days, I'm just gonna shoot him. I ain't got time to wrestle. You see how big that dude is? I ain't got time to wrestle him like I did the others. So we gotta be careful. You see, we can't create our own tribulations. We gotta let our tribulations come from when we teach in the Bible. But we too quick, we creating our own tribulations out here. And that's what the problem is. Okay, we're gonna go to the book of Joshua. If you got the book or look it up on your phone. The book of Joshua, chapter 76, 16 through 23, and also 77, 26 through 36. Yeah, 76, 16, and 23 first. It's amazing what Paul and them went through and still praise the Most High. Still praise the Most High. I was in jail for traffic. Up in there with some crazy people. I mean, nothing like the Cook County bullpen. I'm more afraid of the bullpen than the actual cell. The bullpen ain't no joke. But it still ain't nothing what Paul and Silas went through. They went through the real deal. Not to mention what they was going through before they even got there. So this work is not peaches and cream all the time. So we're gonna have to be ready when it happens. All right, let's read.
Going to the book of Joshua, chapter 76, verse 16. So the shepherds of Midian came and drove them away, and Moses rose up and helped.
Right, because this is when Moses left Egypt. And them sisters was out there, I think they was getting water, And Moses, and they was trying to take the sisters, and Moses rose up and helped them. Read.
And Moses rose up and helped them and watered the flock. Verse 17. And they came home to their father Reuel and told him that what Moses did for them. And they said, an Egyptian man has delivered us from the hands of the shepherds. He drew up water for us and watered the flock. And Reuel said to his daughters, and where is he? Wherefore have you left the man?
Right, they said, where is he? Why you leave him? Read.
And Reuel sent for him and fetched him and brought him home, and he ate bread with him. And Moses related to Reuel that he had fled from Egypt, and that he had reigned 40 years over Cush.
Right, now you see, first, he eating bread with him, he feeding him, he talking to him, he happy, you help my daughters. You know what I'm saying? Good. Now what happened? Read.
And that day afterward had taken the government from him and had sent him away in peace and honor with his present and with presents. And when Reuel had heard the words of Moses, Reuel said within himself, I will put this man into the prison house, whereby I shall consolate the children of Cush, for he has fled from them.
Right, he thought he was going to get something. He caught him. Now you just fed this man, he just helped your daughters. And then when he's telling you his troubles, the first thing you want to do is lock him up and try to get some type of payout for him. Read.
And they took and put him into the prison house, and Moses was in prison 10 years.
He was in prison 10 years. And what was happening in them 10 years? Read.
And while Moses was in the prison house, Zipporah, the daughter of Reuel, took pity over him and supported him with bread and water all the time.
So the Most High put the Spirit on her, since he helped them, to feed him. Get that man bread and water, because you don't know what could have just happened to you. Feed that man. Read.
We're going to chapter 77, verse 26. Book of Jasher, chapter 77, verse 26. And Moses, the son of Amram, was still confined in the dungeon those days in the house of Reuel the Midianite, and Zipporah, the daughter of Reuel, did support him with food secretly day by day.
See, she did it secretly, because they weren't supposed to feed him. He really didn't think he was going to be there that long. He thought he was going to get paid for him. Read.
And Moses was confined in the dungeon in the house of Reuel for 10 years. And at the end of 10 years, which was the first year of reign of Pharaoh over Egypt, in the place of his father.
Right.
Zipporah said to her father Reuel, no person inquires or seeks after the Hebrew man,
right,
whom thou didst bind in prison now 10 years.
Right. Now, ain't nobody came looking for him. You ain't getting no money. Why is he still in prison? Read.
Now therefore, if it seem good in thy sight, let us send and see whether he is living or dead. But her father knew not that she had supported him.
Right. See, he thought the man was dead. He thought the man died. He didn't know that his daughter was secretly feeding him. Read.
And Reuel, her father, answered and said to her, has ever such a thing happened, that a man should be shut up in a prison without food for 10 years, and that he should live? And Zipporah answered her father, saying, surely thou hast heard that the God of the Hebrews is a great and awful, and does wonders for them at all times.
Right. Now, that word awful is not saying pitiful or mean. It's saying that he's great. He's awful.
Astounding.
Right, astounding. Read.
He it was who delivered Abraham from Ur of the Chaldeans, and Isaac from the sword of his father, and Jacob from the angel of the Lord who wrestled with him at the ford of Jabbok.
Right, because Moses was in there talking to her too. He wasn't just eating that bread. You know he was spitting that game too. You know how it was. He was man. You know what my people is. That's where I come from. Them. You know.
Yeah.
Let me give me some gravy on that bread. All right, read.
Verse 34. Also with this man has he done many things. He delivered him from the river in Egypt,
right,
and from the sword of Pharaoh, and from the children of Cush. So also can he deliver him from famine and make him live.
Right. See, she was running in her father. Her father was sitting back like, yeah. Yeah, you know, he delivered him. That's why he here. Read.
Verse 35. And the thing seemed good in the sight of Ruel, and he did according to the word of his daughter, and sent to the dungeon to ascertain what became of Moses. And he saw, and behold, the man Moses was living in the dungeon, standing upon his feet, praising and praying to the Most High of his ancestors.
Now, listen to that. Read that again.
And he saw, and behold, the man Moses was living in the dungeon, standing upon his feet, praising and praying to the Most High of his ancestors.
Right now, I don't know if she ever told her father that she was feeding him, but you know, when he first saw it, he was like, not only is he alive, he's standing and praising the Most High God. And he looked fitter than he looked when he first came here. I know he was like, man, what is going on? But out of all that, did Moses back into a corner? Did he shake up and curse the Most High? No, he kept praying, he kept praising the Most High. Let's get to the next commentary.
The commentary reads, can you imagine being thrown in prison for 10 years unjustly as Moses was? Do we see how the Most High was able to deliver Moses by blessing him, showing grace and mercy, allowing him to be fed when it was commanded for him not to be, and to starve to death? And through this, how the Most High's power is being shown and boasted about by Zipporah to her father, how the mighty Most High of the Hebrews is in all the times he has delivered them. Moses being a witness to Ruel how powerful Ahiah is, and Moses showing us that in his tribulation he was still praying and giving all praises to the Most High, regardless how bad his situation was.
Right, no matter how bad it was. Moses was locked up for 10 years. And you know he was already beat down from running, from crossing through that desert. Because he was knocked out when he seen what was going on with them. He still rose up and helped. You know, this is where Lucifer get all this Superman stuff from. This where we get all this Superman stuff from. Superman, Kal-El, another planet. Nothing could harm him but his own planet. Kryptonite get to him, Superman become, you know, like a leaf. Man, move that kryptonite away, Superman up helping everybody. That's how Moses was. Moses was down, he was hurt. But when he seen what was going on with them sisters, he didn't know them. He still jumped up out of his weakened state and helped them. And what happened? He got through in prison for 10 years and wasn't even supposed to be fed. That's heavy, because this is what we do to each other right here, right now. We'll leave each other out to dry. Go through something and forget about the Most High. How can we forget about the Most High? We happy all the time. We praising every day. That's why we gotta know, when we praise on the Sabbath, that's how we gotta praise every day. I learned that this week. That's why I praise the Most High for this lesson. Because he brought this lesson right in time. Check me. We used to say, check yourself. That's what this lesson did. This lesson was a check yourself. Okay, we're going to go to Daniel 3 and 8. Because who are you to be worried about something so small when your wife has went through the most terrible thing ever that a woman could go through? Wake up and glorify me in this tribulation, and see how better you feel. I bet you I wasn't feeling bad when I got the chicken and mashed potatoes the other night. I was smiling then. I'm like, yeah, I could have messed this up. I could have been in the hotel room somewhere eating White Castles. This is better. This is better. Let's get it. Daniel 3 and 8.
We had Daniel 3 and 8. Wherefore at the time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image.
Right.
And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth, that he shall be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage and fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king.
Mm-hmm.
Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods?
Do not ye serve my gods?
Nor worship the golden image which I have set up?
Mm-hmm.
Now if ye be ready that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made.
Right.
Well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? Verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this manner. If it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king.
Right, because they already knew who the Most High was. See, the Most High had already given us over to Nebuchadnezzar. Because what we did, we broke the commandments. We didn't follow the law, statutes, and commandments. So now we was in a situation. See, now we're in a situation where either you forget your God and you pray to mine. You know now, if you already know what the golden calves was, and you already knew that their gods can't deliver you nowhere, and you already know your people done already failed for praising these gods, you know what you're gonna do. And let's read.
Verse 18. But if it be known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up.
Right.
Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury.
Right, he was angry because they really believed in these gods. They really believed in these gods that they created. Notice he said, my God, because everybody had their own gods. Every king had their own gods. That's just weird. We read.
And the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 17 times more than it was wont to be heated.
Right, heat it up.
Mm-hmm.
Heat that thing up as hot as you could get it. We gonna fry them boys up in here tonight. Get it hot.
Yep.
I want it hotter than it's ever been. Read.
Verse 20. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace.
Right, give me the toughest guys.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the mightiest among you, so they can't move. I don't want them to be able to move their neck when we throwing them in there. Read.
Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace.
Right, it's a good thing they didn't throw them in there naked. Read.
Verse 22. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace.
Right. Now, since he heated it up 7 times hotter than it's supposed to have been heated up, You know, it burned all right. Oh, it cooked. But everybody except the 3 people he wanted cooked. Now they fell down in the same hot furnace that just burned up these guards that put them in there. The mightiest guards that was there. They had their coats and everything on, everything burned. They fell down in the same fire, in the same place, and started praising the Most High. Read. Or we're going to go into the anointed apocrypha.
We're going to the annotated.
Annotated. Yeah.
It's just we're going to read 4 verses out of that to show the similarity, but we're going to pick up in Daniel 3 and 24.
Right.
But this is the annotated version of Daniel 3 and 24. I'll read it. The annotated apocrypha, Daniel 3 and 24. And they walked in the midst of the fire, praising the Most High and blessing the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Then Azariah stood up and prayed on this manner, and opening his mouth in the midst of the fire said, Blessed art thou, O Lord God of our fathers. Thy name is worthy to be praised and glorified forevermore. For thou art righteous in all things that thou hast done to us. Yea, true are all thy works. Thy ways are right, and all thy judgments true.
Right. See, they kept praising the Most High. They never stopped. They made Nebuchadnezzar so mad that he wanted to treat them like barbecue. He really wanted to make an example out of these brothers, for everybody else could know you praise my gods here, but it backfired on them. Okay, let's get it back into the Bible, Daniel 3 and 24.
Picking up at Daniel 3 and 24. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of the Most High.
Right. So he looked in there, he was like, wait a minute. I put 3 in there. It killed all the guards, but now I see 4 walking around in there. One is like the Son of the Most High. Read.
Verse 26. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire, and the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their heads singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who have sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's words and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own God.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon.
Now, why they don't read that? I wonder. Why they don't uphold that in these Jewish communities where they don't believe in Christ? Nebuchadnezzar said, anybody that don't, he shall do what?
That every people, nation, and language who spake anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. Right. And the king promoted them.
Now, why did nobody bring that up? Don't nobody bring that up, the stuff they say about Christ, how he inhaled in his own instrument. It's how you say that? Yeah. How he doing that? How that's happening to Christ? Why they don't bring this up? You see? But these brothers, and you know when they was up in there praising the Most High, they was singing, walking around, dancing, they was happy up in there. And they just didn't understand it because these brothers feared the Most High. And they know, okay, we're going through something right now, but guess what? The Most High got it, especially when those brothers caught fire. And it just told you that even their coats wasn't burned. They didn't even smell like fire. They walked up out of there the same way they walked up in there, untouched, calling on a higher. They didn't understand it. Let's get the commentary.
And you know Israel.
Right.
We walking past the door like, I ain't even hot.
Right. Yeah.
You know how we are.
Right.
But they was praising the Most High, but they was, man, that's powerful. I always remember that story when I was a kid too. Mm-hmm. The commentary reads, another scenario where we have Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who were Israelites, refusing to worship the gods of the heathen, were persecuted and thrown into a fiery furnace, which in most instances would mean absolute death. Mm-hmm. Once again, we see the Most High's deliverance, power, and glory and mercy being shown to the righteous, which in turn causes the king of Babylon to be converted, believing that there is no power greater than the Most High God. Notice the fourth man, who was an angel and identified by the king as Christ himself, was there as a hedge of protection for these brothers, showing how Christ is there with us in these times of distress. And in this affliction, what do we find these men doing? But giving all glory to the Father despite their tribulation.
Right. And who was that? That's the deacon right now. That's the deacon right now. A deacon been going through tribulation since he's been put in this position. And it's still going through it. At the hospital with his wife and his baby right now, praying to a higher, not giving up, not bottling in the corner, whining, not blaming the Most High, being strong in the faith. That's how we gotta be, especially in tribulations. We're gonna go to Job 1:6. Nobody lost how Job lost. Job lost and he didn't even do nothing. It was all because of that snake, that slithering coward. That were the things that happened to Job. Let's get it.
Going to Job 1:6. Now there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them.
Okay, now, the sons of the Most High. These are the angels. This is not man who was going to and fro throughout the earth. This is not man who came to present themselves before the Most High. Man can't even be around the Most High. Man can't be around the glory of the Most High like that. Flesh can't enter into the kingdom of heaven. So when people say that the angels, the daughters, what was the daughters of Cush, was sleeping with the sons of Right. Now how could that be when it just told us right here? Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. So now we know that the sons of God is also angels too. Didn't Christ call himself the Son of God all the time? So everything that was created is his children. That people just don't get it. They want to stay into one little mindset, but the Bible corrects you all the time. Okay, let's read it.
Verse 7. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou?
Where are you coming from?
Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
From going to and fro in the earth, from going from the heavens to the earth and walking all around up in it. Doing what? Looking for somebody. Looking for something to kill. Like I say to my wife all the time with my pit bull when he be out there just going nuts. I'm like, he's looking for something to kill right now. Bring him in the house. He's looking for a squirrel or something. That's what Lucifer was doing. Just walking back and forth in the earth, over and over again, looking for somebody he could get. Read.
And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth the Most High, and escheweth evil.
Right. He don't play around with evil. He fears the Most High. That's my servant. That's my boy. Have you considered him? And what does Lucifer say?
Then Satan answered the Most High and said, Doth Job fear the Most High for naught? Has not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land.
So what does that tell you? Yeah, I have considered Job. I've been watching him for a while. And yeah, he really don't, what that word for evil? Escheweth?
Yeah,
escheweth evil. But that's because you have a hedge over him. That's because you're not letting me get to him. Let me get to him. Let me show you what he's really thinking. Go ahead.
Verse 11. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power, only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Most High. And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house.
Now, what did the Most High tell Satan right there? A lot of people don't get that. The Most High said, okay, yeah, you touch all the things that he got, but on him, don't you put your hands on him. You better not touch him. Everything that he got, everything else, go ahead. But him, you better not touch, because the Most High knew his heart. He knew what Job was going to do. Read.
And there came a messenger unto Job and said, The oxen were plowing, and the donkeys feeding beside them. And the Sabaeans fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, The fire of the Most High is fallen from heaven, and have burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, The Chaldeans made out 3 bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away. Yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, Thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. Mm-hmm. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job arose and rent his mantle, and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground and worshipped, and said, Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed is the name of the Most High. In all this Job sinned not, nor charged God falsely.
Foolishly.
Sorry.
You see that? Out of all that, now if you notice, all this happened in one day. I never knew that. As one person got through talking, another one came up, and another one came up. To the end, your children are dead. And what did Job do? He praised the Most High. He didn't sin. He didn't disrespect the Most High. He said, Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be a higher, and all his, and Job sinned not. Now, Satan messed up, because it tells you all this happened in one day. What did Satan do? See, he'd been trying to get to Job for so long that when the Most High gave him the creed to go ahead, he did it all in one day. And by him doing it all in one day, it went straight to Job, man, like, man, this is the Most High. This is the Most High doing. This is the Most High. Let me praise the Most High. Now, if he would have did it over time, he probably could have got Job to send him to do something, but he was too excited. He was too excited. Just like a lot of snakes is. It's just like a thief. A thief can't just come in and grab something and leave. I got to get this one last thing. And they all upstairs now. All upstairs. And by the time you get to the door, you see them lights. And in your mind, man, I should have just tucked what I seen the person left. That's Satan. He didn't think. He just reacted. As soon as the Most High said, get him, I'm finna tie him off. But you did it all, so you did everything at once that all Job could do was fall down and praise the Most High. See, the Most High know how Job think, and he know how Satan think too. Job is my humble servant, Satan's an idiot. The first idiot. Because something got to be wrong with you. If you up in heaven, you seeing all the glory, and you think that you can do it. How can you do it when you was created? How can you do it? How can you do what the Most High have done? You see, he was angry. He didn't glorify his tribulations. He didn't talk to Christ. Like, man, can I get some more work? No, I gotta act a fool. Job, on the other hand, lost everything. Even his children. And he fell to his knees and he praised the Most High higher. That's how you're supposed to do it. That's how you're supposed to do it. And then he got what? Everything back tenfold. And Satan couldn't touch him no more. Nothing. Let's get the next commentary.
The commentary reads, so let's take a look at Job's situation for a moment, because this is exactly where the devil is looking to capitalize in our troubling times and get us to curse the Father. By getting us to do this, the Most High doesn't receive the glory, but the glory then goes to Satan. Mm-hmm. We have to always keep this in mind regardless of what situations we face in life. Can we lose as much as Job did and maybe even more and still be able to bless the Most High's name?
Right. Can you get fired tomorrow and still bless the Most High? Can you go from making $40 an hour down to making $8.75 and still praise the Most High? Everything's finna change from that. You making $40 an hour, you nice house, nice car, you go down to $8.75, you back in that one bedroom. You back driving that putt-putt. Can you handle that? Can you still praise the Most High when you can't go get Jordans and Timberlands? Now you gotta go to Famous Footwear and get those no-name boots, pay less. Yeah. Hey, I buy Levi shoes these days. $20 a pair of shoes, baby. So hey, we got to be ready. Not, you know what I'm saying? Not putting my brother on the spot, but can you jump out of what's that thing y'all be driving? What's that thing called? What's that thing? What's that car? Tesla. Can you go from a Tesla to a Ford, what's the old car, the old red one, Escort? I mean, from a Tesla, from this year Tesla to a 1985 Ford Escort and still praise the Most High. Man, we got to think about stuff like that, because what is given can be taken. Right. And how you going to react? Are you going to praise the Most High, or are you going to get mad and start doing anything you can to make money? Because some people get used to stuff like that. And it becomes the bane of their existence. You know, I be seeing brothers riding around with these cars with nice rims on it, just like mine. You got your 1979 Cadillac, you got rims and stuff all on it, and tinted windows, and you press the button, the radio flip all out. I can't even take the radio out of my car. Are you content with that? Is that what you all about? Sure, I could put that stuff on my car, but why? I like to be inconspicuous. I don't like to be seen like that, because I park my car outside. I don't have a garage, and most of them don't either. I see the same cars, you know, rammed up, parked, snow all over them. I'm like, so you did all that instead of getting your garage? Think about it. You can't love those things, because those things is gonna take you away. If Job loved those things, he would have cursed the Most High. Give me back my sheep. Give me back my family. Why are you taking my family from me? That's what Job would have did. But you know, Job broke Satan's face, as my mama used to say, broke his face when Job jumped down and prayed to the Most High. Satan didn't know what to do. He had no idea what to do. He was stuck, because guess what? You didn't use up all your ammunition in one day. That's like getting a gun, buying some ammunition, and going to the range and shooting all the bullets, and then you come home and somebody come in your house and you ain't got no bullets. Think. But the Most High knew Satan was a thinker. He knew he was an actor, a person of action. He's gonna do this. I bet he was telling the shy too, watch. He's gonna go down there right now and take everything from him. I guarantee you. He's finna do it all right now. And that's what he did. Okay, we're gonna go to Revelations 2 and 10. Yeah, we can do it.
It's not bad. Going to Revelations 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death.
Whoa. Fear none of these things which thou shalt suffer, because the devil shall throw some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and you shall have tribulations 10 days. Moses. Remember, Moses was thrown into prison, and he had tribulation for what? 10 years. Think not a second. Be faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Moses came out and saved his people. Let's not forget that. Let's go to John 16 and 33.
We're going to John 16, 33. St. John 16, 33. St. John 16, 33. These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation. But be of good cheer, I have overcome the world.
Right. These things I have spoken to you, in me you will have peace. And in the world you shall have tribulation. But remember, when you go through tribulation, you have peace with the Most High. Let's get the next commentary.
The commentary reads, Christ told us that we will suffer, some of us cast into prisons, or the FEMA camps we have seen in the United States. But all of this is us being tried, as well as as we all must go through the fire. And through the tribulation we must keep the faith, be of good cheer, and give the Father glory in these moments, as it means that there is eternal life awaiting us in the world, in the end, if we endure. Christ showed us the way. He was able to endure, and in him we have the power to be able to do the same.
Come, let's get James 1 and 2. We're gonna go through the next one. It's not that long ago. It's almost his last set of scriptures.
We had James 1 and 2. My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations.
When you fall into diverse temptations, read.
Knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh
The
patience.
trying of your faith worketh patience. See, when you going through something and in your faith, you trying and you fighting it, you're gonna get patience. The more happens, the more patient that you will get when our tribulations come. Read.
But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing.
Right. You be patient and want nothing but the Most High, but that glory that comes with Christ. Read.
Skipping over to James 5 and 10. James 5 and 10. Take, my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Most High, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. Behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Most High, and the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy.
Right. The Most High is very pitiful of us when we go through our endurances. He's there, helping us. Like, man, he gonna go through that? Okay. Let's put some more work on him. He can handle it. Christians, what the Christians always say, the Lord ain't gonna do nothing to me that I can't handle. But what can you handle? These tribulations is finna come hard. You don't know what you can handle yet. Let's read our commentary.
The commentary reads, when we are being tempted, we are to be joyful, knowing that we must be on the righteous path to receive all kinds of temptations. In this walk doesn't it seem that you get tempted around every corner you turn? James told us the same as Paul, that through these temptations it tries our faith while building up our patience so that we can strive for perfection following Christ. Practice makes perfect, and men like Job left us an example of great endurance and patience. Without these trials, how would we then become perfect and show ourselves to be in the eyes of the Most High?
Right, we gotta be perfect. And these trials is what's gonna put us through it, just like making a sword. The sword don't become a sword until it's put through the fire. You know? And that's what we gotta be. We gotta be ready. Let's get the next set of scriptures, which is Matthew 5 and 10.
We're going to Matthew chapter 5, verse 10. Everyone have it, say come. Matthew 5 and 10. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye, which men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you.
Right. And we already know what they went through. What are we going to go through? Because the Most High, he polishing us. We polished. We ain't hit the fire yet. The stuff that we go through is personal. What the Rashad? I hope that ain't on the tape. Okay, we're gonna get the next commentary.
The next commentary reads, do we not realize how blessed we are when we are persecuted?
Do we not know how blessed we are when we are persecuted? How can them two be in the same sentence, blessed and persecuted? Read.
There isn't anyone who will make it to the kingdom that doesn't receive some sort of persecution, and on a high level. There are countless stories in the Bible that confirm this, and we have read several in this lesson today. We must learn to embrace our haters and be joyful that we have the truth and are not living in darkness as those who persecute us. Rejoice with abundance of happiness, as great rewards in the kingdom await us if we finish this race.
Now, when you hear that, what's up with the prosperity movement?
Right.
Do we not realize how blessed we are when we are persecuted? These guys think they're blessed already with taking money from people. I heard that dude he called himself Creflo. Yeah, Creflo dollars. This dude said, I came here, I didn't come here on a jet. I didn't come here on a plane. I came here on my own plane. I'm already rich. You boasting about the wrong thing, buddy. You boasting about the wrong thing. So if you ain't being persecuted, guess what? You have thou riches. You have thou reward. That's your kingdom already. I don't want that kingdom. Like I say all the time, if I hit the lottery for millions and millions of dollars, I feel sad for the elders. Because I'm giving half of that away to the elders. I'm not finna be the only one. Y'all looking, y'all too. Y'all too. Y'all gonna have millions too. I'm gonna be looking at y'all. Don't look at me. What you gonna do? I ain't going through this by myself. I tell you, I know one thing, that love and that charity better be up to par with it. Let's get the last set of scriptures.
We're going to Hebrews 11 and 36. Hebrews 11 and 36 through 40. Everybody have it? Say Con. Hebrews 11:36. And others had tried of cruel mockings and scourgings, yea, moreover of bonds and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn asunder, they were tempted, were slain with the sword, they wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts and in mountains and in dens and caves of the earth. And these all, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise. The Most High having provided some better thing for us, that they without us should not be made perfect.
And others had trial of cruel mockings and scourgings, moreover, the bonds and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn asunder, were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, and tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts and in mountains and in dens and caves of the earth. And all these, and these all having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise. God having provided some better things for us, that without us should not be made perfect. So we gotta be ready. Because guess what? Moses didn't make it into the land. Out of all the work Moses did, he told them, hey, I can't make it over there anyway. I'm not gonna make it. But still, when he died, what did Lucifer do? Go looking for his body. Go looking for his body. Where the Most High had to take his body up into the second heaven, because Lucifer was ready to do what he's doing right now. See, when you're going through something, when you persecuted from something, you always gotta know that the kingdom is at hand. And this is the way we get to it. Christ knew that. Christ could have gave up. He said it. I could call on an army of angels right now if I wanted to. And this would be over for y'all. But he didn't. What'd he do? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Keep praising the Most High in your afflictions, and you will see the kingdom. Let's get the final commentary.
The commentary reads, many terrible things our ancestors and the prophets went through that would make some of our trials look like child's play Do we realize how good we have it compared to what they went through? And do we realize that the tribulation to come will be far greater than anything any of them ever faced? Let us recognize these things, continue to get ready, and give thanks to the Most High for the confirmation that walking this walk isn't all in vain, and that the kingdom of heaven is near. We got next. Shabbat Shalom, family.
All right. Any questions, comments? Tawad.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
I just want to say it's a good lesson. You know what I'm saying? Things that because I know, like in tribulation, like especially dealing with the certain people that you're around all the time. At this world, it just makes you want to dawn on and think on that negativity all the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you're going through it, you know what I'm saying, how the way you never, you know what I'm saying, we don't never think to get the Most High's honor and glory when we're going through some, well, it's just a scripture pertaining to what you were speaking of in the book of Romans. Romans chapter 12, verse 1. And it says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. So our mindsets and our atmosphere and our attributes should always be, you know what I'm saying, we should already be set in line to die for the Most High, or even in the case to do the best we can to serve Him, to show forth that diligence.
Right.
But we actually, you know what I'm saying, we actually out here service. You know what I'm saying? So that, you know what I'm saying, this whole lesson in the Torah, you know what I'm saying, it's just great because it's just like, man, I'll be seeing a lot of stuff in school and I just be like, man, dude, what's wrong with people?
Right.
And I just, you know what I'm saying, it's just certain things like this, you know what I'm saying, that's just emphatic, so, you know, just all praise.
God, give a man a hand. Out on point like always. Always on point. Anybody else? All right. So now I guess we pray out.
Really breaks my heart. Cause we've been lied to, misled for years, calling out to the Most High on his trail of tears.